What's up, everybody? I'm Scott.
I'm Jason.
And you are listening to Liquid Kernedge. We can't number them anymore because we get knocked on it by our executive producer.
Yes.
So
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things our executive producer does not allow us to do.
And if you're listening to this, it's sometime in 2019, possibly later. I don't know. Maybe you downloaded all of our episodes and finally got through to us, and it's really 2021. So either way,
yeah.
Thank you for listening to us. We appreciate you guys taking the time out of your week to hang out with us for a little while.
Welcome to the show. Exactly. How you holding up, my friend?
Dude, it has been a week.
Tell me about it. I mean, I don't even know how to start. I mean, the week started with a great podcast that we released last week, and then my Rams are going to the Super Bowl. And,
right. Oh, it's terrible. On a screw job. You know, hats off to them across the board, but that game was handed to them by the referees. And
wow.
You know, hey, man, a win is a win. I'll be the first one to tell you that. And I think it'll be a great matchup against the Patriots. But I do feel like the Saints were robbed for the second time in a year. But this time, it wasn't because of poor tackling. It was because the referees just completely blew two penalties in the same play.
Yeah. No, I think the referees, all in all, were horrible. And it really is too bad because I think both teams played the game.
Oh, yeah.
And evenly matched. I think that the Rams beat the best team in football. So, I hope that bodes well or carries forward. But it's too bad it undermines the fact that, the refs swayed the game when it didn't have to be swayed. I mean, both teams could have won it. Both teams could have lost it. But there were plays on both sides. I mean, there was a face mask that the Rams didn't get called that would have had it 1 yard line, first and goal at the 1. They scored a touchdown there. They're up 24-20, and we're not even talking about a field goal for the Saints. So it just ruined a really good game. But that's neither here nor there because, we have a drunk history coming up now, baby.
We do. And it is my turn to take the mantle.
I know. I'm a little scared, though, because you might do a really good job and make me look like a bum, dude.
I don't think that'll be the problem. You have chosen for me to speak about women's suffrage, and that is such a broad topic. And
you might need to research and find a more narrower point to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. We're probably gonna have to discuss Susan B. Anthony or just down to the voting in 1920. We'll get into that. Either way, it'll be recorded down at the Beale Street Barbershop with Josh at a date to be determined because you're gonna come up for that. And I'll be honest, man, once I posted this stuff on social media, the amount of requests I got from people, fellow fans, to come and watch, whether it's to see me be a shit show and talk about history or just watch the Liquid Kernedge magic happen in one foul swoop. Either way, it's nice to know that people are out there and they want to see us do what we do best, which is make fools of ourselves.
Well, the other thing we could do, too, is if you needed to, we could do the second annual Hans Gruber late, get you nice and sauced up, and then have you go on drunk history, dude.
I think that's a terrible idea. We should not be doing that. I'll tell you that much right now. But it'll be fun. We'll figure out that day. We'll be out there for the fans. If there's a subject you want to hear us talk about later on in Drunk History, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Kernedge. And in the off chance you think Tom might agree to ever do a Drunk History, hit him up at liquid_EP on Instagram and Twitter, because I would love to see that happen for once. I think that would be a tremendous shit show.
Scott, I think that social media is one of the most fascinating, yet one of the most time-wasting things you can have in this world.
Absolutely.
And one of the stories that I saw recently was an artist decided that he was going to put a art exhibit in a desert in Africa, where there's some speakers that were set up, and the speakers are hooked up to a solar panel so that they will continue to play the song Africa for eternity.
Now, by Toto or by Weezer?
Toto.
Okay, so the original, the 1983 classic.
Yeah. The 1983 classic.
Wow.
And it got me thinking, it's like people will do anything to get on social media, but it also got the question out there in the social media world, what would be the one song you'd want to listen to for eternity?
Oh.
Now, I don't know about you, but I have a concern that if I were to listen to the same and again, it would be very possible that I could get so sick of the song that I'd never want to hear it again,
Well,
and it could turn into a torture.
that sounds like a direct sentence in hell. Like you're face to face with Satan himself, and he says, "Here's your punishment for eternity. You have to listen to Africa by Toto nonstop on a loop, no matter what you do." I mean, that's punishment, man. I like the song. Don't get me wrong. If I hear it every couple months, like, yeah, man, that's a catchy tune. I get it. I hope the rain falls on the plains of Africa, however the song goes. But if I had to hear it 24/7, 365 for eternity, fuck that.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of songs that I absolutely love, but if I heard them again and again and again and again, I would probably blow my brains out. So,
and let's be honest, with the way radio plays now, Spotify, Pandora, if that's even still being used, Amazon Music, Apple Music, it's not hard to hear your favorite songs whenever you want, however you want. So, I think a lot of people do this, whether they realize it or not, by picking certain playlists. You hear the same songs over and over and over, and the radio kills it on satellite radio.
Oh, big time! Yeah, we have Sirius Radio in the car, and it's a running joke now that every time I turn the car on, I'm gonna hear Ariana Grande on iHeartRadio music station. Like something is going on where she is constantly on.
She's very popular right now. But in fairness, though, Ariana Grande is right in your wheelhouse for music that you like to listen to when you exercise. Back in the day, it was Miley Cyrus. Now you've moved on to Ariana Grande. So no shame in it.
Living in or dancing in the USA.
There's no shame in it. It just is what it is. It's just a friendly observation from one friend to another.
Every time you do a friendly observation, though, I think that you're giving me a grief. You're giving me a little bit of a jab.
I probably am, because
you might be giving me a little bit of a jab.
That's how I show love, my friend. That's how I'm showing I care about you, by giving you a quick jab, a shank, if you will, to your musical taste. Right,
you do that a lot too.
I do.
God, I do.
But we're friends. We've been friends longer than 7 years. So psychologists say we're stuck with each other.
Well, and as you well know, I mean, and our listeners know, you and I have very not only differing tastes in music, but we also have differing opinions about what makes music great or what makes music not great.
Absolutely, and that's the other part too. It's what you find interesting and captures your ear doesn't necessarily capture mine.
Yeah, true.
And I will say this though, and no one will admit this, or most people probably wouldn't admit this, but everyone has that closet song they think is catchy, they like listening to, but they'll never admit it in front of their friends.
When my dad was alive, he was back in the day where he'd make a mixtape. And his mixtape was funny on a couple levels. One, because of the choice of music. Like, he had Julio Iglesias, and he had Willie Nelson, and of course, but his thing is that instead of just playing all of his songs on the mixtape, he would put the songs back to back. So he'd hear a song twice, and then he'd hear the next song twice, and he'd hear the next song twice.
So he's just played the same song 2 times in a row before he even moved on to the next song.
Yeah, so he went through Julio Iglesias for 2, and then he'd go to Johnny Cash for 2, and it got to a point where it was almost hysterical because he would get so excited and start singing the song because he knew what song was coming up next, and he played that mixtape probably till it broke. I mean, it was the binge listening before binge watching was something,
So let me ask you this. So when you hear certain songs, does that take you back to like maybe be in the car with your dad when these things when that song would come on and you got to listen to him jam out to it?
Yeah. Now that my dad's gone too, it's even more special when I hear the songs come up on the radio. It makes me think of him.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember being a kid and my dad had an F-150, a single cab. Back in the day, and he had a tape deck he always had Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass and the Top Gun soundtrack. Those are the two albums I always remember in that truck. And to this day, man, I have the Top Gun soundtrack in probably every format, CD, digital, what have you, that I've ever listened to. And I never get tired of that soundtrack. That is the one thing that I always go back to, being in the front seat of that truck going to get a haircut, listening to Highway to the Danger Zone or any other Kenny Loggins song on there.
Oh, Scott, I mean, let's be honest. What's my nickname for you?
It's Maverick.
Maverick, baby. I mean, that was our
Yeah.
first time we got to hang out. I was Ron Burgundy,
And I
and
was
you were
Lieutenant Pete Mitchell,
Maverick.
Maverick from
Yep.
Top Gun. Yeah.
And I remember that at the time, it was at Noreen and Rich's house. They were having their annual Halloween party, and you and I polished off a bottle of Crown.
Yes, we
And
did.
we had a great time. But yeah, now on my phone, your nickname is Maverick. So I can only imagine that was an important album for you. Now I know why.
Yeah, and let's not forget, it's also one of the greatest movies of all time. I mean, the story might be a little shoddy, but as far as a man's movie, that movie holds up against a lot of movies. It's just cool.
Now, let me ask you this, Scott. So you remember Top Gun. Do you also remember a movie that came out about the same time called Iron Eagle?
Yeah, with Louis Gossett Jr. and Jason Gedrick.
Yeah, it was like he was the young 20 or 17-year-old punk kid who no one was going to stop him from saving his dad.
Yeah, right? You see, it's funny. When a movie like that comes out, it seems like that, like similar movies of the same nature come out right around it. It's just like different movie companies have the same story idea, but they have different writers. So it's basically the same lick and stick movie. And I would say Iron Eagle is very close to Top Gun. It's not necessarily the same plot line, because it's been years since I've seen Iron Eagle, but it is not. It has only been a few months since I've seen Top Gun.
Yeah. It's kind of like I don't know, Dances with Wolves and Avatar or something crazy like that.
Yeah, the difference between Dances with Wolves and Avatar is that they literally are the same story.
What was the other one? Groundhog Day and something else.
Oh, Time Cop or
no, the one with Tom Cruise where he.
Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
Bill Murray was much better at it, so I was much happier with that.
Yeah, no, I remember. We talk about songs or music that makes us happy. When my friend Pete broke up between my junior and senior year that summer, REO Speedwagon's Greatest Hits came out, and that song, I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore, all summer he was depressed, and we listened to that song all the time.
Oh, fuck.
I can't fight this feeling anymore. So it can bring out bad things too.
The 80s were so prime for music, the rock ballad. The hard rock ballad was such a prime thing in the 80s between REO Speedwagon, Foreigner, Kenny Loggins. They all had those power ballads before hair metal came out. And it seems like those are the soundtracks to all the movies.
Yeah, I remember the song I First Kissed a Girl to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bryan Adams, Heaven.
Really?
Yeah. I remember we were in the car and that song came on, and I kissed the girl for the first time that wasn't like a peck on the cheek. And then every time I went to her house, I always made sure that I queued up the tape so that when she got to the car, that song
was ready.
Up. Yeah.
You sly dog.
No, she dumped me. I mean,
she's like, you have a job. Get another tape.
Yeah, she's saying, "Wow, dude, you're a freak, dude. It wasn't that great." Oh,
man, I'm sorry. That cut deep, Chad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny because everything that used to be in style eventually always ends up back in style.
Mm-hmm.
And the 80s right now being almost 30 years ago, or over 30 years ago now, everything is coming back in style through Stranger Things, the show on Netflix, the reboots of shows and movies. There's Ghostbusters 3 that just announced is coming to production with Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson and potentially Bill Murray. Top Gun 2 comes out in the summer of 2020. People like nostalgia, and it takes them back to those moments of, oh, yeah, that was cool. I remember going to see Ghostbusters in the theater in 1984 when I was 3 years old, and I couldn't stay the entire time because it scared the shit out of me. I remember going to see Top Gun, and all those things hold so many memories for me. It's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they're bringing them back, and I'm glad that things like that happen. But it does make me terrified when the 90s turns into nostalgia and some of that shit stuff comes back here in a couple years.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's bound to happen, right? All the, it goes in 10-year increments, so everything is going to start going back to the norms and stuff. But yeah, I tried to think of a song that I would want to hear again and again, and it's hard for me not to kind of go back to, I know I'm a freak, but James Taylor's Carolina on my mind. Yep, that's the song. If I had to listen to one song again and again and again,
For eternity.
for a reason, that's on a loop. That song, for a reason, always makes me think. You know what it makes me think? It makes me think, I know I'm here right now, but I've always got somewhere on my mind that brings me to a better place. And every time I hear that song, I think he must have wrote that thinking, wherever I am, I've always got my hometown on my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's true for a lot of people. But do you think, having that thing that always reminds you of home, and I think that's really cool. But really, that song for eternity.
I mean, because my thing is that it's a good enough song that it brings more than just the lyrics and the sound of it. It brings up a memory or a mental feeling that would allow me to listen to it again and again and again, because it makes me think of going, always going back to my roots.
Yeah, I can respect that. I think for me to do that, to pick a song to listen to over and over and over for eternity, a damnation song, I'd have to go with Interstate Love Song by Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, see, I'm not familiar with that one.
To me, it's always been one of the greatest songs Scott Weiland ever sang. It's just, leaving on a Southern train down yesterday. It's just the song always just kind of hits me in the right times of my life, and it takes me back to like you said, your younger days, and it's a very impactful and deep song by a great band, and it's just got a great melody and a great rhythm.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's what makes that idea about that one song that's a great song so important to us all, because it brings us to an emotion, a feeling, a thought, a person, maybe, a person.
It can take you back to that one moment in time, but the problem with going back to that one moment in time is that for all those good memories you have about that one moment, were they really that good? You think about the one song that takes it back to that girl or that time you did that thing. Looking back, is it good to remember that one thing for eternity? The girl that broke your heart, but you thought you'd be in love forever. If you had to listen to Heaven by Bryan Adams on repeat forever.
Yeah, I would be a little bummed out because I knew that was like the only time I ever kissed that girl, and then
right,
it was over. It was over. Yeah, no, that's true.
And that just shows the impact of how deep some songs affect people. One song that you can listen to that always takes you back home is James Taylor's "Caroline on My Mind," but one song that can completely wreck you on repeat is "Heaven." And maybe not so much now, but when you stop and you think about it, that memory coming back every time you hear that song now.
Yeah.
It could just kind of give you a case of the yips.
Yeah, and I don't know. Have you ever had this happen, Scott, where you remember a movie or a song in your mind from your childhood, and then when you go back and watch it, you wonder like what the heck you saw or what the heck was moving about that made you remember it so fondly as a child, but not as an adult?
Oh, all the time, man. I have a big thing for nostalgic, movies. I love movies, number one. And as I go through, and I have a Vudu account, and I add the classic movies that I loved growing up, I'll watch some of them here and there and wonder, what the hell was I thinking? This movie sucked. And then there's the timeless classics like the Indiana Jones. Like, to me, John Candy was a comic legend. I loved John Candy. I still do love John Candy. And I love his stuff like The Great Outdoors.
Oh, a classic. Oh, yeah, God, it's such a good movie.
And that movie is so hokey to so many people. And if you read the reviews, the Rotten Tomato reviews, it is, it gets panned. But just from a comedic standpoint, John Candy and Dan Aykroyd do a great job in that. And it just kind of takes you back,
Yeah.
And I love that. What about you?
That movie's always made me. I mean, that movie has always made me smile. A Few Good Men is a movie. I don't care if it's on TNT. I don't care. I've seen it so many times, but I love that movie. I could watch it again and again. Again and again. Interview with the Vampires like that for me too. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I watch it now, and you can tell that back then Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise were like big time stars, because it's not a great movie, but I can watch that movie again and again, and I just enjoy it.
Yeah. And I think our listeners should understand, first off, that if they haven't heard before, Jason has a huge man crush on Tom Cruise.
Huge, dude. Huge.
It's the biggest man crush in the history of man crushes. So you will stop and watch any Tom Cruise movie on TV, which is fine. I get that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Bad ones though.
He's got some great movies, but he's got some terrible ones though too. You're right.
Yeah, Oblivion. Did you ever see that one?
No, because I heard it sucked.
Oh, it was awful. It was absolutely awful.
I will say I had my wisdom teeth pulled out that right before that. My ex rented that for the weekend, so I didn't have to watch it. I popped some Vicodin and passed out. So thank God for prescription drugs responsibly taken.
Yeah. Well, okay. So are there any songs that you just flat out will not listen to, or you'll turn off immediately once it even like the first utterances of it?
Oh, there's probably more than I can even think the name of. It's one of those I have to actually like hear it start. Like, no, I can't do this, and I turn it off. But if something gets played a lot on the radio and I get sick of it quick, I turn it off right away. You know, they will overkill Ariana Grande, which I don't listen to that a lot. But you know, if I'm on like the hits, like the top 40 station she comes on, I don't mind changing the channel right away. I've never been a big fan of Miley Cyrus.
Oh, dude! Now it's fighting words.
I know.
But wow, man!
But we have said though we have different opinions on what good music is, and to me that is not good music. So,
that what's that one? Don't Worry, Be Happy is my. As soon as I hear that, oh god, I turn it off.
I would say the biggest one I can think off the top of my head. There's two of them, and they were from the summer of '99. Or one was from '98, one was from '99. One was "How Bizarre" by OMC.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is "Len Steal My Sunshine." I hated those songs.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That. Oh, jeez.
You know, and there's always like a variety of songs. And most of mine are late '90s songs because I was a very angsty teenager back then. So some just don't hit the right mark for me and just give me either just bad memories or. I just don't want to relive those moments.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, a Smash Mouth song here and there. I don't know. Maybe All Star. I don't have to hear that song ever again. Or Walking on the Sun.
Oh, now. Wow. Now, okay. Once again, you're shooting things. Now you're shooting.
Are you
things.
serious? Are you a Smash Mouth fan?
I like that one song.
All-Star?
Don't be late. Right now, I've got her coming out. I don't even know the words.
Walking on the Sun, yeah.
I just will be walking on the sun.
It is truly a feat of nature that you and I are such good friends with such different viewpoints on everything.
Yeah.
This is a true testament to the fact that opposites do attract to make the world go round.
Well, and I think it's in some cases, don't you think that it's such a personal feeling about songs that a lot of times you don't even really talk about it with people that you meet or get to know until way later. Like very rarely to say, "Hey, it's nice to meet you. What's the song that moves you the most?" You know what I mean? Like it's such a personal feeling that you get from those kind of songs.
I think it's a very intimate thing to show someone your playlist now. You know, it's like when someone takes your phone, if you're nervous about it's maybe some of the apps where they're kind of embarrassing or some of the songs on there. This is another scenario. As you get closer to someone, you start dating them, showing them your playlist.
Okay, what are you going to be more embarrassed by, Scott? The pictures on your phone or the songs on your phone?
Probably the songs, because my pictures are mostly just memes. You know, it's like I don't. Yeah, fuck, man. Look at those. I don't care. You know, that's not that big a deal. But you know, look at some of the songs that just kind of catch in the feels, or the one-hit wonders that you just kind of like. You know, I'm a very big man, and I like rock. I like hard rock. You know, Disturbed, Shinedown, Godsmack. But every so often, man, I'll throw in something like some '80s power ballad, or you know, just some like a teeny bopper singer. It's like, I like this song. It's catchy. It's cool.
Yeah. I don't have pictures of myself naked or anything on my phone. I don't take pictures of people being naked on my phone, so I would definitely be more embarrassed to show my playlist.
Yeah.
And my problem with my playlist is I don't put it by genre. So I'll have like a Miley Cyrus right next to Dolly Parton, like country, then right next to AC/DC. There's no rhyme or reason to the music that I put on my playlist.
And it's funny. I look at my playlist on my old computer, like when I was buying songs on iTunes, and it's almost like an archaeological dig. Like you can see like what phases I was going through in life as you look at the different songs and the times I purchased them and the eras. It's all very interesting to me. It's like you just see the different layers of like, oh, I was in a relationship there, or I was single there, or this is the summer we did all this, just based on the songs and the order of the that they were purchased.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. Or have you ever like put a running list that you just run straight from top to bottom? You listen to it so much that you just know what the next song is going to be.
Oh yeah, I used to do that with my workout mixes.
Yeah.
When I create those playlists, I would put the songs on, and I know when a certain song hit what I should be doing, and it just kind of got you in those zones. And it was cool, and I still listen to those every so often. Like, yeah, man, that was a good song. I don't need to hear that again for the 10 years, but that's a good song. So no, it's cool. It's cool to go back and listen to those songs on your playlist every so often. Be like, yep, that's the one. I don't need to hear that again for a while. But it's just kind of cool to see the archaeological finds you'll have in there. Or I forgot I have this one.
Yeah, they're the stories of our lives, even though
they really are.
They're words, but they're the stories of our lives. So
I am more defined by music than anything else as far as any kind of art. What I listen to when I'm happy, sad. I generally can tell what my mood is based on what's going on my playlist.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up the show today, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, all at Liquid Kernedge. What are you more embarrassed about? The pictures on your phone or the songs in your playlist? I think that's a good poll to start to see what we have. What do you think?
I love it. I think that's the perfect poll. Because I think it's very strange and weird when I see someone who says, I see this picture on my phone, but then they realize they've got pictures that they don't want to have seen. So okay, here you go.
Yeah.
It's
don't swipe
weird, man.
Don't swipe left more than twice.
Yeah.
What? Too late.
That is just so strange. I mean, that's just so odd to me. But I think it's a great question. What would you be more embarrassed about? I love it.
Yeah. Let's go with that. We'll put that on the old Facebook and Instagram page and see what kind of polls we get. A big week coming up this weekend. Just a bunch of fun stuff. It's that week before the Super Bowl, so there's no sports on TV, and the weather's going to be nice. So get out, go have yourself a good time. And then next week, I think we should talk about Super Bowl foods. I've got to definitely spend some time researching women's suffrage. That show should happen pretty soon here. I would say within the next month or two is the goal.
Yeah, I'll make sure to get up there just for the drunk history. Just for the drunk history. I think that would be a great idea. Your favorite cookouts, barbecues. That would be an awesome one.
Yeah, I think so too. So, Jason, why don't you take us home?
All right. Well, Scott, great topic. I'm glad to hear that if you had to listen to a song for eternity, it would be something that you'd like. If someone wanted to punish us, they could do it where they could play the worst song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be OMC, how bizarre. If
OMC, mine would be Don't Worry, Be Happy, so that works out perfect.
I would punch somebody in the face.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate you guys all the time. That was Scott. I am Jason, and as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Kernedge.